What's going on, everybody? It's Money Mike here with Marco Nunez from Evolve Athletic Performance. You know, a little background about him, former Lakers athletic trainer, and now he has his own business. But he's here right now at the Waiver Wire to talk about these injuries for the NFL. It's a crazy week two again, and so we got to go over these injuries and see how we can win these games. Because I know for me personally, man. Judy and we got to get it. He got hurt, and Connor got hurt. Everybody seemed like everybody on my team, man, that I had got hurt. But how you doing today, Marco?
I'm doing great. Unfortunately, it looks like another starting quarterback in the NFL kind of went down this week. That's going to require surgery. Unfortunately for this young man, he's going to probably be out for the season compared to the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. But we got plenty of injuries for us to review, give you guys a little update on perhaps some timelines, and hopefully give you guys enough information to get you guys ready for your waiver wire selection this upcoming Tuesday.
Yeah, let's go. So look, you touched on it already. Let's talk about Trey Lance. So he fractured his ankle, so he's going to basically require surgery, and they got him out for 6 to 8 months.
Correct. So basically, he on the play today, I think he was running around. Someone tackled him, and he wasn't able to get back up. So bottom line, the X-ray showed that he does have a fracture. They haven't identified what bone in there has been fractured in the ankle, but he's going to require surgery. Most likely, he's going to get some pins and needles in there. And bottom line, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. He's going to probably expect him back in about 6 to 8 months, which pretty much takes him out for the rest of the NFL season. At this point, I guess for the Niners, it was kind of you could say probably smart of them keeping Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Because now they got another good starting quarterback.
Got you. Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna make it clear. Go ahead, drop Trey Lance. He ain't coming back this year. Okay. So, but let me ask you one more thing to it. You know, while we're here, I know we don't have exactly what he broke, like you said, but ankles. You know, are you able to be back 100%? You think he'll be back next year 100%? Or
yeah, I mean, I expect him to be back and be able to return in about 6 to 8 weeks. He should be ready to roll. Knock on wood, assuming there's no like setbacks or any issues on that part, but he should be able to come back for next season. He should be ready for training camp. He should probably even be ready for OTAs type of thing. So he'll have plenty of time to be able to recover and be able to return for the upcoming season. As far as his performance, obviously because of the ankle injury, they may be a little bit. There's always been studies that may change a little bit of performance, but overall he should be back and be fine.
Cool. Well, not his arm, so I guess that's a good thing. Hey, so my guy Jerry Jeudy, I had a whole lot of hopes for him. We had Russell Wilson throwing to him. He hurt his ankle.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That hurts me too because this year I'm in 3 leagues. For some reason, I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, and I decided to kind of draft him as my starting quarterback in all my 3 leagues.
Yeah,
I was trying to get Jerry Jeudy. I got Jerry Jeudy in one of them as well. And when I saw him, he went out. I was also unfortunate. Last weekend, he threw a nice touchdown to Jerry Jeudy, so that made money for me. That was great. So he actually went out with an ankle injury. They haven't specified. Most likely, it's going to be probably an ankle sprain because they haven't even touched upon it being a fracture type of thing. As far as the degree, that's going to be pending. So bottom line, what most teams are going to do before they actually report as to what kind of degree it is, they'll go ahead and do an MRI. And most of the MRIs are done the following Monday. Now, in this case, because they were playing in Seattle, they're going to probably wait till they get back home to Denver. They'll probably be there tonight. So chances are that they're going to do the MRI tomorrow, and they'll be able to determine what kind of degree. So as soon as I find out, make sure you guys stay tuned or follow us on the Waiver Wire podcast on Instagram. That's where I'm going to post some of these updates as they come through on a daily basis, whether it's Monday or Tuesday. And hopefully we'll have some information, and I'll have a better idea as far as what the timeline is, whether you got to go pick up another receiver from another team or anything of that sort. But as far as for this, we just have to wait and see what the MRI says.
Yeah, so we talked about a little bit on the Profanity podcast about why they don't have they have an X-ray machine, but they don't have an MRI machine, in the stadium, because I think they should have both personally. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, we know that they absolutely do the X-ray because that's a regular standard practice that they do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 99% of stadiums, arenas in the United States, whether it's MLS soccer, whether it's NBA, whether it's NFL, they all have an X-ray machine in the facility. There's an X-ray tech and whatnot. The biggest issue with the MRI is, one, that they're very expensive to purchase, to maintain. 2, you have to have a technician that is able to do the MRIs on site. But more importantly, You need a physician, a radiologist that needs to be able to see those MRIs, read those MRIs, and then submit the report. Now, as far as an X-ray, they take the X-ray, the X-ray tech prints out the X-ray. The physician can put it up, can see it right away. Boom, there's a fracture. There's no fracture. The MRI takes a little bit more time because what the physician has to do is he or she has to go slide by slide and be able to identify, see what's going on. So it's not something that you can do within like a few seconds or minutes like an X-ray. So yes, would it be great for every arena or team to be able to have it? But even then, if they do have that, it takes so long for them to read it. There's no point. The game may be over.
Okay. All right, cool. So explain to me how you can fracture cartilage. You know, we talk about Justin Herbert here. You know, it was a real good legal hit. I must say, it's just something that happens in football.
Correct. So I think you and I were talking about this right before the podcast,
right.
and that's something that when I read the injury report online type of thing, that they identify him as I think they categorize it as a fractured rib cartilage. Now, the funny part about it, the interesting part about it, is that they also stated that the X-rays were negative. So my question is, how do you have negative X-rays but yet have a fracture? Second question for me is that you fracture bones. Cartilage is if you take a look at the tip of your nose and you bend that little part right here that's kind of bendable, that's cartilage. If you take an example of your ear, that's cartilage. Now, the ribs don't wrap around your whole entire front portion. There's cartilage that kind of attaches them, and that's what allows you to breathe in and breathe out and expand and stuff like this. So most likely what I'm suspecting here is that he probably has some bruised ribs or something of that sort. He probably has a nice little bruise when he landed on that part. Otherwise, I would have said fractured ribs, not fractured cartilage. He was able to play on it. You can, but you can tell that he was uncomfortable, which is expected. When you bruise your ribs, and just breathing can be very uncomfortable. So we'll see what he does for week 3. I mean, I expect him to play. Most likely, you're going to probably have the athletic training staff with the sports medicine staff is going to probably give him a nice little rib protective brace on that part. So if he does get hit again, it reduces the sensitivity or the discomfort. But other than that, I probably don't expect him to practice that much. They'll probably rest him, but he should probably be able to get in there maybe Friday. Now, the other advantage also is that they play Thursday. So they have a full 10 days to be able to recover. So that's a plus on that part. Okay,
cool. So we definitely want to keep him and have him ready, anticipating for him to be starting next week on week 3. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and talk about James Conner. Again, somebody ahead of my team. You know, this guy went down with his ankle. Same type of thing?
Yeah, so this is kind of probably be the same scenario as you mentioned with Jerry Jeudy, the receiver with the Denver Broncos. James Conner's running back with the Arizona Cardinals. He went down, they categorized as an ankle, most likely has an ankle sprain. They haven't determined whether it's a first or second degree. Once they identify whether it's a first, second degree, that's going to determine his timeline or his return to play. Same exact thing. They're going to probably go and do MRIs first thing tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Once they read the MRIs and the report comes out, they'll probably go ahead and publicize this. At that time, we'll go ahead and have a better idea as far as the timeline. So again, make sure you follow us on the Waiver Wire Podcast Instagram, that's where I'm going to be posting some of these updates. So as soon as they come out, I'll post them to let you guys know. That way you guys can be ready to select for the on your Waiver Wire for Tuesday.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about Michael Pittman. He has a quad strain or contusion. Which one do we prefer for him to have? You know, I mean, because, you know, I don't have Michael Pittman, thank God, but for those people that do have him, which one is easier to recover from?
Yeah, so this is a little also interesting because he didn't get injured in game during week 1. This happened during practice. I think from my understanding, they first reported this on Wednesday of this week. So the question is, they reported it as a quad injury, quote unquote quad injury, but they haven't stated whether it's a contusion. A contusion is another nice fancy word for a bruise to your quad or Charlie horse. Have you ever gotten hit in the quad? It's uncomfortable. But you can still kind of maintain and move around. A strain is just like similar to a hamstring strain when you tear the muscle type of thing, but they haven't identified which is what. But he did not play this weekend. So the question is, we have to kind of wait and see how he functions throughout the week. Whether he starts practicing Wednesday, whether he practices Thursday, type of thing. But to answer your question, if I had to choose between the strain or the contusion, I'd rather take the contusion because the contusion is just a bruise. It's one of those things. Sometimes you can put ice, if you can move around and you can tolerate the pain, you can kind of go. The strain, on the other hand, is that even if you want to go, that discomfort's there, you can't really do much with it. So I'll take the contusion. But like I said, they haven't stated what it is, so it's just a matter of waiting and seeing.
Okay, but again, this got hurt in practice. So what do you think it is? You know, I'm obviously, you know, I'm putting kind of putting you on the spot. What do you think he has? Do you think he has?
I'm gonna probably lean more with the strain. There's a chance he probably had a strain. He probably did a sprain type of thing because, from my understanding, on Wednesday they don't do any major hitting on Wednesdays. Usually the hitting's usually done when I was done with the with the football teams working for them. Wednesdays was just to kind of get back to the field. You do sprints. Thursday was a hitting day. Friday was just kind of wrap up the week. Saturday was the walkthrough, and then you play the game on Sunday. So usually Thursday would be the hitting day. So I'd be surprised if it is contusion. I'd probably suspect it's a strain, which I'm not happy with as well because I have him on my team. He did great week 1, and as you could tell, his absence was a huge impact on the Colts because I think from this week the Colts didn't score a single point. Matt Ryan suffered. I even have Jonathan Taylor also on my squad. He suffered because there was no one for Matt Ryan to throw to. So they need Michael Pittman in there to kind of balance him out between Jonathan Taylor and the running back and then the receiver up there. So as much as I don't want to say it was a strain, we'll see what happens. But it's just we just got to wait and see what happens this upcoming week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the expert either, but based on what you're telling me, contusion is more of a bruise.
Correct.
More likely he would have played if he had a contusion.
Yes, there was, but the only thing with the contusion is it all depends on how much pain you're in. So a contusion is uncomfortable. If you ever got hit in the quad, it's very uncomfortable type of thing. So it now becomes a pain tolerance type of thing. Can you play? Can you move with it type of thing? And you go. A strain, no matter even if you try to push through it, if the strain's there, it's very difficult for you to do that.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. So let's go and talk about get a little update on that Prescott. He has a fractured thumb. He couldn't grip the ball. That's what the issue was. They got him about 4 to 6 weeks. Do we think that's accurate?
Well, that's the question of the issue or mystery, so to speak, right now. So Dak Prescott fractured his right thumb on his throwing hand in week 1. He should have already had surgery, stuff like that. Now, typically, the timeline to return to play is 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, coming back in 4 weeks can be normal. I know Jerry Jones went out there and said that he's expected to come back in 3 weeks, type of thing. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible for him to come back in 3 weeks. There's a chance, but there's so many things that have to go right. The surgery has to go right. The swelling has to be reduced by a certain time. His range of motion has to be back by a certain time. His strength has to be back by a certain time. He should be able to grip the ball, throw the ball, all that stuff. But even let's say he does come back in week 3. The odds of him being Dak Prescott and throwing the long ball, and this kind of reminds, I don't know if you recall last year when Russell Wilson had kind of the same injury. Right. He came back, and the reason why I know is because I had Russell Wilson in my fantasy football league, and that first game he came back, from what I recall, is that the coaches changed the game plan for him. And what I remember is that he was always in shotgun position. He was never underneath the center. And the reason for that is that they didn't want the center to snap the ball back and hit the thumb. So he was always in a shotgun position. And obviously his throws were either short or became more of a running game for that time. So in this case, when Dak does come back, I wouldn't be surprised if they emphasize the running game, meaning Zeke and Pollard are going to probably do a little more. I'd be surprised if Dak Prescott throws the long ball. So you're going to be looking for more of the short passes. So if you have Schultz as far as the tight end, most likely he's going to probably benefit from game 1 when he does return, or any slot receiver, kind of quick short pass type of thing. CeeDee Lamb, if you have CeeDee Lamb, he's more of the long ball type of thing. He may not benefit from when he immediately when he comes back, but eventually he'll be back. But bottom line, Dak will be back. The question is, will he be back in 3 weeks or 4 weeks? And then once he does return, how soon will Dak be back to the normal Dak?
So I'm gonna tell you what I'm hearing you tell me. So what I'm hearing you say is like when Dak comes back, don't play him that game. It's more of a wait and see type of thing. So I wouldn't based on what you're telling me, you're the expert. I wouldn't put Dak Prescott back that first week.
Correct. And then the same thing. If once it comes back that 1 week, if you do play him, it's going to be, be very cautious. Don't expect him to go off and give you 30 points, 25 or anything on that part, because what they're going to do is they're going to probably have to change the game plan to kind of help him ease him into it. Second game, okay, by the third game, then he's ready to go.
All right, cool. So really, if it's 4 to 6 weeks, don't play him for another 7 weeks. Basically,
once he comes back.
Right. Well, yeah, once he comes back. At least 2 weeks after. That's Money Mike's advice based on what the expert Marco NUNOZ said. Hey, so let's talk about Keenan Allen.
Yep.
So, he has a hamstring strain.
Yep.
That was last week. He obviously didn't play today. They have a timeline of 10 to 14 days, but they didn't say, what grade strain it is. But what grade do you think it is?
So initially, from what I was hearing the reports, I think they mentioned, or it sounded like he probably had a grade 1 strain, which is actually a good thing. Okay, usually a grade 1 strain, you can come back anywhere as early as 7 days to maybe about 14 days. So usually within 1 or 2 weeks type of thing. Now, the unfortunate thing for Keenan Allen and all Keenan Allen, whoever, if you've had fantasy football, you had Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's on my team.
Yeah, he got hurt week 1 on Sunday. And they played on Thursday. So he only had 4 to 5 days to be able to recover from the injury and be able to perform. And even if he had a grade 1 hamstring, for him to be able to do that was almost close to impossible type of thing. If you guys were following us, I think on the Waiver Wire podcast Instagram, I think I went on there and I posted that the likelihood of him playing was very small. I think I had him as doubtful. And then eventually, I think Sunday morning, you sent me an Instagram post that, hey, he's out for the game.
Yeah.
So if it is a grade 1, you probably lost him for just this 1 week. Now he has a full 10 days to recover. We got to keep an eye on him and see how he does throughout the week, whether he starts running, starts playing, starts scrimmaging with the team. If he progresses, he does that, you could probably expect him for week 2. I expect him to be back for week 2 based on the information that we're looking at. It looks like a grade 1. Now, if for some reason it is a grade 2, then we're looking more at about maybe 2 to 4 weeks type of thing. So it's just a matter of see how he plays or how he participates in practice for these upcoming days, most likely Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Again, follow us on the Waiver Wire podcast Instagram for those updates to kind of keep you posted on what's going on with them.
So, look, again, same question. I know Keenan Allen, he's basically the main target.
Yep.
Do we play him that week he comes back?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have.
So I would have full grade health.
Full go ahead health. And again, but like I said, let's keep an eye on him, see how he does for the week. And if he practices normal, there's no limitations, no restrictions. He's in there scrimmaging with the team. I'm ready to go. I mean, he's Herbert's number 1 target.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, but this is what I hate about injuries. Like they'll go out there and then they say I can't go, and then now you're stuck.
Yeah.
And now I need all those points. So that's my question. Like, do I want to risk the first week when he goes back?
See, and that's one of the biggest issues you have as far as when you're playing with teams. And I've talked to other players, both NBA and NFL, stuff like that, and they sometimes end up playing, even though they may not be 100%, they'll probably be 80% they'll end up playing. And the reason why they'll want to play, or they'll want them to play, is because Keenan Allen is that number 1 receiver, and he can become a decoy. And that's the issue with a lot of
that don't help me.
I understand that. That
don't help me.
And that's the problem sometimes. What it becomes is that, Keenan Allen may play, but they may use him as a decoy because they're trying to kind of gravitate, to other players. And that may work for the team, and the team gets a W at the end of the day. But I get it from your end, from fantasy football managers, it doesn't help you.
Right.
So that's what we got to keep an eye on.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna wait to see what you think is gonna happen. All right, Chris Godwin. Let's talk about him. They got him 2 to 4 weeks. Doubtful for week 3.
Correct. So Chris Godwin, he also had a hamstring strain last week 1. Now, the issue with him, and that's something I think I had mentioned on our Instagram account, is that he's also coming back from an ACL injury. Okay. Now, the question is was this hamstring secondary to that injury? Because even for week 1, they had him as questionable or they had him as game time decision for that part. So it was like, you don't know whether you're going to play or not. He decided to play. He actually looked pretty good. So what I'm suspecting is that even if it's a grade 1 hamstring strain, like I said, usually it'll take about 10 to 14 days. He should be able to play week 2, but because he's coming back from the ACL injury, as the sports medicine staff, they're going to probably be a little more cautious with him and make sure that he's like 1,000% ready to go from the hamstring before they throw him back in there. Because God forbid, you don't want him to have a 3rd one or a 3rd issue or another tear or anything like that. So I have him as kind of doubtful for this upcoming week. But again, we're going to keep an eye and see how he performs and if he practices throughout the week.
Okay. So let's go and move on to George Kittle. Man, the 49ers, man, they're going through it right now. So George Kittle, tight end, he had a calf strain. We don't know what grade it is, right?
Well, at this point, I'm going to probably say easily a grade 2, because from what I think the reports are talking about, that he suffered this injury like beginning of August. So we're looking almost at about 6 weeks type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, a grade 2 calf strain can take anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks. So I'm going to identify that it's probably a grade 2. And I think from some of the reports I've been reading is that he hasn't really practiced much with the team, and that's going to be the number one deciding factor. We have to wait and see if he starts practicing with the team. So again, same kind of concept. We're going to wait to see how he does Wednesday. We'll see how he does Thursday. If by Friday he's not a full active participant with the team, odds are he's not going to be able to play even on Sunday type of thing. So it's just a matter of waiting and see how active and how much he participates in practices. Now, if he's running drills with the sports band staff, that's not practice. He's got to be with the team, scrimmages, and all activity type of thing.
Right. So, do we have any updates on T.J. Watt? I know he's a defensive end, but he really, I know he's not going to be back to Calvin 6 to 8 weeks. Is that going to be a decent timeline?
So this is a little interesting, because I think when he injured his pectoralis major muscle, basically your pec muscle type of thing. And the initial report is that he tore it and he was going to require surgery, which is very common for a torn muscle in that area. But then I think around Tuesday or Wednesday, they say, you know what, he does not going to need surgery. So the question is whether he didn't tear the muscle, whether he didn't completely tear the tendon. Either the tendon is still somewhat intact and they're just going to wait and see if it heals type of thing. Now, even though they're going to wait and see and heals, it may not fully heal, and then he may still end up getting surgery. So it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. Usually they're going to probably wait and see about 6 to 8 weeks, see how he progresses. They'll probably do another MRI and see if it's starting to heal, and then kind of go into that part. So even though he's not out for the season, it's just a matter of seeing how his rehab goes, how his muscle heals, how the tendon heals, and then he should be able to return to play and then be able to test it. So he's kind of like a little gray area. I'm expecting him to be out about 6 to 8 weeks, at least for them before they reevaluate him and see where he's at.
Yeah, and that's good news for Pittsburgh, because I mean, defensively, you know, he's one of the main pieces, and you know, if they get on a roll, win a couple of games, that'll be great for the playoffs for them.
Correct.
Yeah. So we always before we end our show, we always go with the pick of the week. My pick of the week is the obvious one, but Marco, who do you want to get off?
I'm kind of curious what your pick of the week. So I'm gonna kind of, if he's still available out there, please go make sure you grab him. I'm gonna go with the same pick I did last week, but I'm gonna have a sub pick. I'm gonna have kind of 2 picks. I'm gonna have like a little hidden pick type of thing. So the first one is the same one from last week, which is Jahan Dotson, wide receiver with the Washington Commanders. He basically he got honors this week. He got rookie of the week for the week 2. He's had 2 great weeks, 2 touchdowns in week 1, 2 touchdowns in week 2. Now the interesting part about it, Carson Wentz would be another pick of the week if you guys haven't. If you're in dire need of a quarterback, whether you had Dak Prescott or you had Trey Lance, Carson Wentz has had 2 great weeks at the same part. Curtis Samuel, the other receiver for the Washington Commanders, also has benefited from Carson Wentz. My understanding is that Carson Wentz is more of a short pass receiver. He's not a long ball. That's why the other receiver, McLaren, hasn't really done much these 2 weeks, because Carson Wentz doesn't throw the long ball. But if Carson Wentz continues on the same path, Jahan Dotson or even Curtis Samuel would be great pickups if they're still available. One hidden gem might be a little surprise that I want to throw in there, and hopefully I'm not taking one from you, which I was watching the Sunday night football game. Randall Cobb, he's back with the Packers.
Yeah.
And if you saw week 1, Aaron Rodgers was very frustrated with all his receivers, but Randall Cobb is one of his main guys he's had for years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, when he's in dire need, he's going to probably throw to the one player that he trusts.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that plays out. So what's your guy?
Hey, so my guy is obvious, man. Go get Garoppolo. I mean, we already know that Trey Lance is out for the season. Garoppolo had a very interesting contract in the beginning. He was understood. He was coming in as a backup, but he has a no trade clause. How do you give a no trade clause on and agree to be a backup quarterback? So I always thought there was something funny with that here. So I personally don't think that Trey Lance, even that year, is going to get his job back. So go ahead and get Garoppolo. That's my pick of the week. It's kind of obvious.
No, but I agree with on that part. I mean, you definitely want to go get Trey Lance. I mean, not Trey Lance, Garoppolo, if he's available. He's a great starting quarterback. He's definitely no backup quarterback whatsoever type of thing. So if he's available, whether you had Trey Lance or you had Dak Prescott, go ahead and get Garoppolo and put him insert him right into your starting lineup every week.
Okay, so yeah, so we're in LA, so we like to talk about the LA teams and stuff. The good thing is for the Rams really don't have any injuries, to kind of go through. So knock on wood, or with them, when we kind of went over the injury, the major injuries for the Chargers in regards to Herbert as well as our guy Ken Allen. So but yeah, we definitely always going to be in touch with all the LA sports, the LA teams every week. Give you a special report on them because we're out in LA. We want to know what they're going to do as far as performance, and we actually are fans of not just fantasy football fans, but we're fans of the actual teams also. So I want to thank you guys for coming in today, listening to us. We want to go and talk about tomorrow. As these injury reports go on, we're going to go on Twitter Spaces tomorrow. You want to follow the Waiver Wire Pod on Twitter, and 9:00 tomorrow we're going to go on Twitter Spaces where we love to talk to you guys, talk about different same type of content. See any updates about injuries and see who you guys have on your team, and you may have an injured player that we missed. So tomorrow, tune in tomorrow, 9:00 on Twitter Spaces. Listen in, and you can actually talk to us. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys next week at the Waiver Wire, 10:00.